China names new vehicles for manned lunar exploration mission. China unveiled on Saturday the names of its new manned lunar exploration mission vehicles. The lunar lander is called Lanyu and the manned spacecraft Mengzhou, according to the China Manned Space Agency. Lanyu, which means embracing the moon in English, first appeared in a poem written by the late Chairman Mao Zedong in 1965, the agency added. Mengzhou, or Dream Vessel, represents China's dream of landing on the moon to embark on a new journey of space adventure, according to the agency. U.S. vetoes another UN Security Council resolution urging Gaza war ceasefire. Majority of members voted to call for an immediate ceasefire in Israel's war on Gaza that has killed more than 29,000 people. The United States has vetoed another United Nations Security Council draft resolution on Israel's war on Gaza, blocking a demand for an immediate ceasefire between Israel and Hamas. Arab nations, led by Algeria, put the draft resolution to a vote on Tuesday with the expectation that it would not pass after the U.S., Israel's key ally, had warned it would not back the text and proposed a rival draft instead. The U.S. was the only country to vote against the draft text while the United Kingdom abstained. How the U.S. can rein in Israel. While calls for conditional aid are widespread, Biden may be overlooking a highly effective diplomatic tool. With an Israeli offensive in Rafah looming, the United States continues to face several dilemmas in addressing the evolving humanitarian disaster in Gaza. A growing chorus of American citizens and policymakers alike are asking how the U.S. can support Israeli security while also protecting Palestinian civilians. Ukraine and Italy sign bilateral security agreement, says Zelensky. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky on February 24 signed a bilateral security agreement with Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni. Italy joined Britain, Germany, France, and Denmark in concluding a 10-year security deal with Kiev, agreements intended to shore up Ukraine's security until it can reach its aim of becoming a member of NATO. Meloni is on a visit to Kiev to underline continued support as Ukraine marks the second anniversary of the start of Russia's full-scale invasion in February 2022. Gaza ceasefire talks underway in Paris as airstrikes continue. Gaza truce talks were underway in Paris on Friday, in what appears to be the most serious push for weeks to halt the fighting in the battered Palestinian enclave and see Israeli and foreign hostages released. A source briefed on the ceasefire talks, who could not be identified by name or nationality, said talks had begun with Israel's head of Mossad intelligence service meeting separately with each party, Qatar, Egypt, and the United States. World leaders offer support to Ukraine on anniversary of Russian invasion. Western leaders have been voicing their solidarity with Ukraine on the second anniversary of Russia's full-scale invasion. Notable Italian PM and Canada PM and the President of European Council and all others expressed their voice and support for Ukraine. French farmers close in on Paris as government struggles to calm protests. French police arrested some protesting farmers on Wednesday as convoys of tractors edged closer to Paris, Lyon, and other strategic locations in France, with many ignoring warnings of police intervention if they cross red lines laid down by ministers. Farmers' unions, unimpressed by concessions offered by President Emmanuel Macron's government, encouraged their members to fight on for improved pay, less red tape and protection from foreign competition. Paris tourism, Eiffel Tower reopens after 6-day closure due to employee strike. The Eiffel Tower reopened to visitors on Sunday after a 6-day closure because of striking employees demanding better maintenance of the historic landmark, showing traces of rust and salary hikes. Junior doctors in England willing to consider lower pay rise this year, says union. Suggestion that striking NHS staff would not pursue original demand for 35% increase comes ahead of 5-day strike. Ministers have long argued that junior doctors' original request of full pay restoration equivalent to a 35% increase is unreasonable in light of government funding constraints. Brazil's Lula doubles down on claim Israel committing genocide in Gaza. Left-wing leader reiterates remarks that outraged Israel, which vehemently rejects the charge and says it is fighting a complex war against Hamas terrorists, not Palestinians. Brazil's president once again alleged Saturday that Israel is committing genocide against Palestinians, doubling down on the rhetoric after stirring controversy last week by comparing Israel's war with the Hamas terror group in Gaza to the Holocaust when Hitler decided to kill the Jews. South Africa urges countries to testify at ICJ against Israel. The South African diplomat said his country considers filing this lawsuit against Israel at the ICJ as its duty to its people and the international community to ensure that the occupying regime is accountable for its actions. He also stated that South Africa has enough evidence to prove the regime has committed genocide in Gaza. UN West just watching Israeli crimes in Gaza for 140 days, Turkish President Erdogan. Even UN Security Council does not and cannot call for an immediate ceasefire, says Recep Tayyip Erdogan. So much so that the UN Security Council does not and cannot call for an immediate ceasefire, Erdogan decried, speaking at a meeting of the Justice and Development (AK) Party in Turkey's northwestern province of Sakarya. Pope Francis cancels meeting with Rome deacons due to mild flu, Vatican says. When asked about his health in a recent television interview, Francis quipped what has become his standard line, "Still alive, you know." Vatican City Pope Francis has cancelled an audience scheduled for Saturday as a precaution after coming down with mild flu, the Vatican press office said in a short statement. Alexei Navalny's body returned to his mother over a week after his death in Russian prison. The body of late Russian opposition leader Alexei Navalny has been handed to his mother, more than a week after he died in an Arctic prison colony, his spokesperson said on Saturday. Nepal, families hold vigil, prayers for slain members fighting as mercenaries for Russia. The Nepali Gurkhas are joining Russia's private military company, the Wagner Group, as the reports suggest. Nepali Gurkhas are keen to join the militia as it also offers them Russian citizenship and better opportunities as contract soldiers. Ukraine's foreign minister says era of peace in Europe is over. Dmytro Kuleba calls on Ukraine's partners to ramp up military production, invest in new productions. Russia advancing in Ukraine the second-year anniversary. As the Russian invasion of Ukraine completes 2 years, the biggest war in Europe since World War II is nowhere in sight. The fighting has displaced millions of Ukrainians, altered the geopolitical landscape of Europe, and hit economies around the world by disrupting supply chains, adding to inflation, and triggering great economic uncertainty. This is a map of Ukraine and Russia war-occupied area. World War II-era bomb prompts one of largest peacetime evacuations in UK history. The 500-kilogram, 1,100-pound, explosive was discovered Tuesday in the backyard of a home in Plymouth, a port city on the southwestern coast of Britain. More than 10,000 residents were evacuated to ensure their safety as a military convoy transported the unexploded bomb through a densely populated residential area to a ferry slipway, from which it was taken out to sea. Russia loses 9th fighter jet in days. Russia's aviation capabilities in its full-scale invasion of Ukraine has suffered a further blow, following the crash of another of its military aircraft and news that the plant in Moscow that makes the Sukhoi fighter jet was on fire. Yet Russia has not released anything about the issue. Many in Myanmar consider fleeing to Thailand to escape conscription into an army they despise. Ever since Myanmar's military announced it is implementing conscription to fill its ranks, THWL sees very few options. New PAC government likely by March 2, presidential election before March 9, report. With a power-sharing deal already inked, the Pakistan Muslim League Nawaz and the Pakistan People's Party are moving ahead with plans to form a coalition government by March 2 and hold the presidential election before March 9, according to a media report on Friday. The Pakistan Muslim League Nawaz, PMLN, led by three-time Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif, will be backed by the Pakistan People's Party, PPP, of former Foreign Minister Bilawal Bhutto Zardari has agreed to form a new government. Thank you for watching. Please share and subscribe.